Hey everybody, welcome back to the Georgia Cat Skinner channel. This is the new Johnny Popper 50G that we got back in June that I've been meaning to make a video on and just hadn't had time to. We're going to do a quick walk around and show you some of the stuff that I like about it and some of the stuff that I don't, and then we're going to change the oil in it. It's time to change the break-in oil. Alright, I'm going to show you my pet peeve about this machine. The very first thing is these grease fittings on the thumb. There's one right there, and there's supposed to be one right there. And those get knocked off pretty doggone easy. In fact, I keep a bag full of them in the toolbox on this machine. And in fact, this grease fitting here greases that pin pretty good. And of course, those are just for the thumb. And I don't know that they're really needed, because every time you grease this, you get grease out around here. But anyhow, they're there, and I try to keep them intact and greased. Of course, it's got the standard John Deere wedge style coupler on it. Nothing new there. The valves here are kind of neat because you can put a quick connect here and then just turn this valve and swap between the thumb and a hammer, or mulcher or mower or anything like that. So that's pretty cool. Not a lot of swapping out on the hydraulics. It has a 4-way blade, up, down, and left and right. And you know, Kubota's got a machine out with a 6-way blade now, and I think so does Yanmar. Deere says they're working on it, but it's going to be like 2 years. I know it's not a bulldozer, but a 6-way blade would be really handy on a machine that size. So the fact that Deere hadn't got it together and got a 6-way blade available on these things yet, I don't really like it, but that's okay. It didn't keep me from buying the machine. I love the great big toolbox tucked in there, but I kind of wish there was something, they had made it wider or something to keep debris from getting packed in all around it, because if you're running in the woods, that happens. Alright, right here where the fuel is, this lid is plastic. Out here right on the edge, everything else, the whole rest of the machine is metal. And why they decided to make that out of plastic, I'll never know, but they did. So don't really like that. Of course, fuel tank here. This is the hydraulic tank, and the hydraulic filter is under this. And I haven't changed it yet, but I would much rather it have a spin-on filter instead of this cartridge type, just for ease of maintenance. Alright, here's one of the side doors open, and this is where we get to the battery. It's under here, and some of the fuses. The air filter is here. That's just a single element filter. It's not an inner and outer, which I thought was kind of odd, but again, no big deal. It seems to work wonderfully. Need to blow out the radiators. We got our hydraulic cooler and our air conditioning condenser and our radiator in the back there. Fuel water separator, and here we go in the engine compartment. Now, I'm not real enthused over how small of an access hatch we have here. But you can get to most everything that you need to get to pretty easy. There's a little inline fuel filter down there, a big fuel filter here. The oil filter's there. The oil fills right there. The dipstick is there. Everything is pretty much easy to get to. But again, I'd like it if the access hatch was a little bit bigger. Here's the cab. It's filthy. I started a video right after I had washed it and everything looked all brand new again, but it's nasty. I may see if I can throw a little bit of that video in here, because I never did finish that video. So we've got the valve that swaps between your John Deere style controls and your Cat style controls, or excavator pattern and backhoe pattern as they call it, is in here. I added a seat cover because the cloth seat was kind of, I don't know, the material just seemed like it was a little thin. So this came out of Oregon. It's a nice heavy Cordura canvas seat cover. It's pretty roomy in here. I mean, I'm a big guy, and there's plenty of room in the cab. I like the skylight there. Both the side glasses open. Of course, the front windshield raises up out of the way if you want it to. And then you got your foot pedals down here. They're plastic, and I really wish they weren't, but again, everything's made out of plastic now. Got AC vents, got one here, two there, one in the floor that always seems to stay closed because I will hit it with my foot, and one back here. Air conditioning controls. This is your slow and fast travel speed, windshield wipers and headlights. This is the backup alarm, which was also one of the most irritating things on this machine. You could momentarily turn it off. So if you start forward, it would beep and you could shut it off. But then if you stopped and backed up, it would start beeping again and you'd have to shut it off. This is for the regen system, or the DPF cleaner. And in this part of the world, you know, this just stays set on automatic. You can go in and change that so that it only does it when you want it to. But in this part of the world, we can leave it set on automatic because it very seldom, if ever, gets dry enough around here that the hot exhaust gases could cause a fire or something like that. So we just leave it on automatic, and then you don't have to worry about the machine shutting down on you or something like that. Because but what this switch does is if it starts and you're not in a place that you can run it for however long it's got to run to clean it, or the gases will be too hot or whatever, you can shut it off. But if you do that too many times, the machine will shut down and you've got to get the dealer out to plug into the computer and get it going for you again. The radio is over here, and this was a radio that I bought and put in here because it actually has Bluetooth capabilities. The radio that comes in this machine, if you actually get it with a radio, is just an AM FM radio, and that's it, and they pretty much suck. Kubota, again, theirs is Bluetooth ready, and I like Bluetooth to plug in to talk on my phone or to listen to music or whatever. So I went ahead and bought a Bluetooth compatible radio that bolted right in for this machine. But Deere really ought to be making those Bluetooth compatible as well. And we got a handy little night light in here. Some of the things that I really do like about this machine is, you know, Deere's old tried and true wedge style coupler for the buckets works really good. It's solid. It's not difficult to change. Yeah, you got to get on and off the machine to do it, but you know, there's nothing there that's really going to mess up on you. So I really like that. I like the cab. I like how big it is. It's pretty comfortable for a big guy like me. You know, the machine itself has got plenty of power. It has not failed to do anything that I've asked it to do. You know, we've pushed over pine trees, dug stumps, tore down houses. It's just been a really good, stout machine for its size. You know, I really can't say enough good about my experience with the machine so far. There's some stuff about it that I don't necessarily like, but there's not a machine out there that I can actually tell you, hey, there's nothing about this machine that I don't like. They're all out there that's got something going on with them that I'm not going to like, or you're not going to like, or whatever. But so far, this has been a good machine for me. We've got a couple hundred hours on it at this point, and haven't had any issues. Not one. It's regened one time, I think, at like 150 hours, and that did not change. That did not affect me running the machine at all. While it was doing the regen cycle, no issues whatsoever. So I don't have necessarily any bad things to say about that either. Alright, everybody, we're going to slide under here and see if we can get the drain plug loose on this thing. Trying to work one-handed, sorry. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. Relocate my pan just slightly. Yummy, just like diesel oil. Just let all the oil drain out that possibly will, and then we'll change the filter from up top there through that access door. You know, I was just noticing that this oil pan does not have a cover over it, and it's drilled and tapped for a cover. And I am betting that they left that off at the dealership when I picked this thing up. Or it was never put on, one of the two. I don't like that. That oil pan's not real thick metal, so I don't like that being exposed like that. I'll get out to the shop here in a day or so and make a cover for that. Or actually, I'll call the dealership first and see if it was supposed to have one, and if it was, then we'll get one from them. Okay, here's something pretty cool that I didn't expect to find when I pulled the oil filter off. Of course, it being mounted on the side of the engine block there means whenever you take the filter off, there's going to be some oil that runs out, and there's this handy little catch pan right there with a hole and a tube that runs down and comes out right there. So it just drips right into your oil pan where you've got it setting, and you don't get oil everywhere. That's actually pretty awesome. I didn't expect the engineers to have that much foresight and intelligence. Alright, for anybody that needs to know, the oil filter for a John Deere 50G in a Wix brand is a 51568. If you're into buying Wix filters from your local parts store like I am, that's the crossover number. Yeah, we'll get us just a little bit of oil and put on the gasket there. Now, I don't know what y'all have been taught, but my granddaddy, that was a mechanic for 60 years or so, always said tighten oil filters about a quarter turn past hand tight. So let me go grab a wrench and we'll tighten that down just a little bit and fill her up. Okay, I've just discovered something that I really don't like. The location for the oil fill, there's not enough room to put a big funnel in there. In fact, we're gonna have to use the flex funnel, which is just not that big, and the oil runs in there awfully slow. That right there is just another reason why mechanics hate engineers. If you want to graduate from an engineering program, you should absolutely be required to be a field mechanic for 2 years before you're allowed to graduate and get a diploma. There is no reason why that needed to be designed that way. Well, I'm gonna leave it with y'all. I'm gonna stand here for about the next 20 minutes pouring oil into this thing, just a little bit at a time. And y'all stay tuned for more fun and games on the Georgia Cat Skinner channel. We're gonna be getting back on the old D2 Project Jippo here before long, and I've got what I think might be some good news on that. So y'all tune in next time.